What's up, Nerf herders? This is Alan from OC Nerf, and today we're going to be taking a look at this brand new product offering from Jet Blasters called the Katana Clip System. The Katana Clip System is an innovation, I believe, that came out from Chris Cartia's Mauser fire pistol, and what he had on his was a sharp fire that had a Pack D mag that was cut down to about this size, where it was a smaller magazine but a mag-fed pistol. In this product with Jet, they've taken that single thin pistol model and added an adapter to it so that this adapter could fit inside of a traditional mag well on a blaster, and the actual Katana magazine will go into the adapter and feed darts into your blaster. The adapter itself, let's take a look at that first. The adapter itself comes with its own magazine release so that you can have your Katana magazine in there and use this as a magazine release. For most stock blasters, this is going to be just no problem at all. In fact, it'll be a benefit, as if you like the extended mag release feature on a blaster, this addition to your blaster will give you that feel in replacement to the traditional stock magazine release on most N-Strike blasters. For others, especially modified ones that already have an extended mag release, this will require a bit of retraining, as you may need to go underneath that one to get into this magazine release. It is significantly longer than most, so that's a plus. We'll take a look at some blasters today and see how that goes. This is the front side of the magazine adapter. The Jet logo is there. This is the back side where all the screws are. If you need to take this apart, it should be pretty straightforward and simple. The construction is really solid. No creaks, no bends. It's very solid material. This works really well, giving it a lot of pressure, and there's no issues with that. This is where the notch is cut for your traditional magazine. So if we took out an N-Strike magazine, you can see just how everything pretty much lines up. A couple of features that I really appreciate about the construction of this. One is this little groove right here that I noticed that in some blasters really gives you the opportunity to grip and pull the original magazine out. So it's got a nice place for your finger there to pull this out. Not in all blasters, but in some. The other thing that I noticed was this extension on the magazine release is really nice. It gives you a lot more room to really grab it. And here's what I mean. Really grab and pull. So it's really nice. And it's also nice that it is long, as I mentioned, some blasters that already have an extended mag release, it would be an issue to have a second one here if it was about the same size. So giving it a little bit more length, a little bit more flared out, really does help with that. And again, the build quality is really good. A few things that I would probably make changes on this, mainly down here in the magazine well. I've been working on making sure that this kind of goes in pretty easily. So I've been doing this for quite a while since I got it, and every now and then I will make that kind of a mistake, or wherever it is. And one of my suggestions would be maybe to flare out the sides here, and this open space here, kind of give it a nice ramp up into your magazine well. So that would be something that I would consider. Otherwise, this is a really nice product. Really solid, really well designed. Now let's get to the actual Katana magazine itself. Here it is. This is the Jet logo on this side, which ironically is on the opposite side of where it is on the magazine adapter. So the Jet logo is on the screw side, and here's the clean display side. This is, of course, half the length of a magazine, or half the width, sorry, of a magazine. So it's about there, and this will obviously fit not regular length darts, this will fit Stefan length or half length darts. You can see the magazine itself up here is a little bit thinner, and that's because this has to go inside something as wide as this magazine. Now, there's some really cool engineering things that I've noticed in looking at this. One of them being this open space in the middle. Now, as far as the feel of this magazine, now this has a little bit of flex in the middle, but the sides are pretty solid. This has flex on the sides and in the middle, so it doesn't feel as solid, and the reason for that is this open channel on both sides right here. So this open channel gives a lot of room for flex just by the nature of that design, but what they have done here is they've increased the thickness of the plastic around the channel on both sides to kind of mitigate whatever flexing happens there. So I appreciate them doing that. Now, the purpose, it seems, again, this is all just conjecture. I haven't really spoken with Jet or anybody there about what their thought process was on any of this. So a lot of this is just conjecture. But my thinking is it's really coming down to this follower guide that's going all the way down here to the bottom. So this follower guide has to fit within a very thin profile, so they had to go outside of the shell or cut into the shell a little bit so that it can do that. The second thing that I've noticed is this follower guide, which doesn't really exist on any of these other blasters, helps to keep the follower moving straight. So if you notice, it's keeping the follower itself on a very straight vertical path. There's no way for the follower to go, let's say if this was the follower, to wobble back and forth. If I push one side of the follower, the other side goes down. This keeps the dart from feeding crookedly. It keeps the dart feeding straight because it's keeping it flat. Again, this is just my guess on how that works. If you take a look at another Stefan mag, here's the clear worker P-mag. If you take a look here, if I'm the bolt and I'm pushing on one side, you can see how sometimes the follower will move one side or the other. So it can kind of rock back and forth. It's very obvious on the clear one, but on here, that doesn't happen. And so I think that's a pretty neat and nifty design. The other thing that I noticed about this design is there's two notches here, which obviously goes just like a normal magazine to lock into place. But the cool thing about having two notches is that it means when you have an empty magazine and you need to load it up, you don't need to think about which orientation it actually goes in. You just grab the magazine and start loading in your darts. And I would just pick up the magazine. It doesn't matter which way I'm holding it. I can just start feeding in the darts. And there we go. So again, it doesn't matter. So when I stick it in, I can stick it in this way, the correct way. And let's say I fed it in the other way. It doesn't really matter. It still holds just fine one way or another. So that's a really nice and nifty innovation there, to be able to have a magazine that doesn't care which way it is so you can load it faster. I really appreciate that. The other thing is this follower has a bit of tighter tolerances, so if you take a look at the original N-Strike one, the spring is a little bit softer, the follower has a lot more space on the sides. The follower here is pretty tight with its little bits to keep it straight, and also that plus the spring inside do kind of give it a little bit of a screech. I'm not very fond of that sound, but it's not terribly bad. I just, that's one thing I really don't like about this blaster. So if you hear that sound and you don't like it, know that that's going to happen. But the follower itself, really solid. The spring is robust. If I take it like this, the follower doesn't actually move, so it's really solid. It will hold 15 cut down darts. The width of this, I measured it, is about 39 millimeters. So if you have darts longer than 39 millimeters, you will not be able to use this. 37 millimeter darts are probably going to be the best for this. The other thing to note is there's these textured bumps at the bottom here, so kind of maybe help you get a good grip on it. That's really nice. The magazine itself is not solvent welded in any way, so it's just got these tabs. If you need to do any maintenance, all you would need to do is unscrew and pull off the tabs. Now, the design of this magazine has a looser fit in the magwell, and what that means is you could drop the clip, so you can just kind of push this and the magazine will drop right out, and for easy reloading. Now that's a cool feature, I like that feature. However, if the design goal was the playstyle of a drop magazine where you would be on the run dropping your magazine and putting in a new one and ignoring the one that you just dropped, I think a nice feature would be to add some padding to the bottom of this magazine. Now I realize not every magazine has that, even on Nerf brand products and off-brand products, but for that kind of playstyle I really think, especially if it seems to be intentionally done that way, and I have seen some of the videos of the Jet Blasters demo of this product, and they do intend for you to do that, I would really appreciate some padding at the bottom here, or maybe thicker, more rubberized plastic. If we take a look at the bottom bumper of this Worker Hex Mag, Stefan Hex Mag, you can see that this bottom bumper here is plastic, but it's really thick kind of style of plastic that really would help mitigate any of the damage done to the actual magazine. Rubberizing it or just putting some felt on it would also be nice. The other thing that I really was not expecting is this strange design to the follower. If you take a look at, and let's use that clear one because it's probably easier to see. If you take a look at the design of the follower here, it's pretty typical to how Nerf designs theirs, which is having this design where it's got a ramp up, but it's all flat, plain. Now the ramp up here is just a piece of plastic, and then it's got a stopping point right there. I'm not entirely sure exactly what the reasons are, so I'm just kind of speculating at this point, but one of the things I noticed in testing is that there is a little bit of a lip right there, and it seems to hold the bolt on some blasters from going forward, but not all blasters. In particular, it doesn't do that to the XZeus Alpha. So that's their own personal product, and it just kind of goes through. Now, what I mean by hold the bolt is if you're empty on a magazine, the bolt won't go forward because it will hit this little thing and stop. Which you might think, well, that just causes a jam in the blaster. Yes, it does, but I actually think of it as a nice little feature where if you're empty on a magazine, you won't be dry firing and you'll know that you're empty because the bolt won't go forward. So that's something that I think is a cool feature if it was intentional. I'm not entirely sure. So hopefully we'll kind of get some more information about that, if that was an intentional thing or not. Now, taking a look very quickly at the box that it came in, this is a pretty nice box. It's actually a really nice packaging. I have to say kudos to the guy who kind of designed it. This is a really, really awesome kind of branded design for this product. You could probably see this on a shelf. I mean, it looks that good. So it's got some more information on the back, obviously, which I don't want to bother reading to you. You can kind of probably get this exact same information on their website. So without further ado, let's go ahead and load up this magazine and test run it in some blasters. So the first blaster that we're going to test run this in, quite fittingly, will be the XZeus 2 shell with the Alpha Kit internals. Now, this is obviously a Jet Blasters product with Jet Blasters blaster with a Jet Blaster internal, so it should all work together just fine. Now the breech is closed, we can kind of just push it all in there and it works just fine. The breech of the Alpha Kit is a smaller diameter, so it does feed in with the breech closed. I don't recommend doing that all the time, but you can do it with this. I would recommend opening the breech, loading it in nicely, and then pulling it out nicely as well. Now here's what I was talking about with this lip here. You can pull the original magazine release. Yes, you can grip it here, but you can also really grip it here and get a nice pull. So it's a nice little feature there. Now, let's take a look at this. This is the double magazine release that I was talking about. Now, I'm trained originally to do it this way, so this will be really interesting for me. But in using this so far, there is another little over an inch distance, so you can just grab a little bit lower. You'd have to train yourself to grab a little bit lower to pull out the actual Katana magazine. If we look at the other side here with the breech open, you can see something that I've mentioned in previous videos, which is that the Alpha Kit requires a magazine that has a more center-aligned magazine well for the darts. And if you look here, that's exactly what's happening. The breech finger, the dart finger, on here goes about 45% of the way over the area where the dart is, so it catches a lot of the dart. In contrast, if you were to look at the clear worker one, it misses it completely. And if you were to look at the hex mag, which is what I've been running this blaster on, and I really like it, it hits about maybe the back 15% of the dart. Now, even though this is only hitting about that little lip of the dart, I have actually not had any issues with this magazine, so it's actually been rather nice. As I mentioned, this is what I'm currently running this blaster with a number of these magazines. They're really well built, really solid, and I don't have any other ones right now that could replace it. The Katana mag, this is the first one that I've gotten from Jet Blasters on pre-sale. I've got more of just the magazine on pre-sale coming as well. So, this is how this fits into there. It fits in rather nicely, as you can see here. And you can just pull out the magazine itself. Now, if you notice, this magazine is empty, and if I push this forward, it moves across just fine. As we'll see in other blasters, that won't be the case. Continuing on with the Longshots, we have the N-Strike Longshot here. This has the Orange Modworks internal upgrade parts, but it still has a stock bolt. So if we were to push this in, we're not going to be able to push this in all the way. That bolt is thicker than the Alpha Kit, and these feed lips would need to open enough for that to be able to take the bolt in it with the bolt closed, but these black parts here are adding additional pressure to keeping these feed lips closed. So that's something that's not going to happen. You will have to open up the breech before you can load it. So there we go, and then it'll load in. So here, load in pretty much just fine. Takes some getting used to here and there, but it pretty much loads just fine. These lines follow the lines on the blasters, so there's no issues here. It actually feels pretty smooth and drops out really nice and smoothly too. And a long shot. Now if you take a look at the inside here, you can see where it'll hold on to it just fine. Everything kind of fits in, but if we were to close this empty magazine, sorry, as much as I'm pushing, I can't get it to close because of that little lip. Again, I'm not sure if that was intentional, because while it works on N-Strike blasters, it doesn't work on the actual XZeus 2 shell with the Alpha Kit internal. So I'm not 100% sure on why that design choice was made. Hopefully, as more information comes from Jet, we'll know. Now, in this specific situation, the magazine release is actually a benefit. The original magazine release on the Longshot is here, this pull. And if you ever wanted to get a extended magazine release, you normally would have had to cut this part of the shell, have a little pin going in there, or buy a 3D printed part that does that. Or if you get the Gavin Fuzzy trigger guard, or wherever else you can get this, the trigger guard that also doubles as a magazine release extension. You can do that, but here it comes with the adapter, so you can just pull out the magazine with this extended magazine release. So that's kind of a nice feature. However, if you do have those other extensions that I've mentioned, it will get in the way, so you will have to retrain yourself to use this or to remove those other pieces. But here it's actually on a stock blaster, or at least stock in this area. It's actually really nice. I actually really like that feature. And again, it drops out really nicely. So let's take a look at another blaster. Okay, another common blaster we have is the Retaliator. This is a Retaliator that has been upgraded Stage 1 and 2 with Orange Modworks kits. That being said, it still doesn't want to go in all the way, just because of the tightness of this. I could force it, but I really don't want to at the moment. So we're going to pull this back, and we're going to go ahead and push this in. It feeds in rather nicely. It drops out, I think. Let's see. Yeah, it drops out again. So it's a nice feature. And it pulls out just fine here. Again, here's something out on a Retaliator. sometimes the bolt closes and sometimes it doesn't with an empty magazine. So right now the bolt is not closing. I like this feature a lot. It lets me know the magazine is empty and it won't let me dry fire. I really like this feature, but it doesn't seem intentional just yet. And again, sometimes that follower is a little bit further down, you can get it to close. So, not sure exactly what all that's about, but it fits really nice, and the Retaliator shell. Let's take a look at another. Alright, another fan favorite. We've got the Alpha Trooper. This is the latest release of the Alpha Trooper. And here we've got the same thing. It's a bolt. It fits in fine, but the bolt needs to be pulled back. And then we can go ahead and fit it in. So this is a little bit of a tighter fit than all the other ones that we've looked at. So this won't drop out as much. It doesn't really impede the use of this, but it gives it no rattle. It's a little bit tighter, but it still uses this just fine. And this obviously is independent of that, so it still drops out just fine as well. Now here the bolt goes all the way through. Oh wait, let's put this in there. Now here the bolt does go all the way through on an empty magazine. Again, it's not consistent one way or another. If it was supposed to be intentionally done that way. So let's pull this out and take a look at another blaster. Right, the last blaster that we're going to take a look at is the Sentinel here, and mine's a little bit upgraded internally and externally. So we're going to go ahead and take a look here again. This won't fit in all the way, the bolt's a little bit too big. The other thing to note here is this is a much tighter magazine well even than the Alpha Trooper. So there's even less rattle here, but you can definitely feel some tightness as you push it in, but it fits in just fine otherwise. So let's go ahead and open this up. Close it. Let's open that up and let's push it. There we go. Alright, so it fits in just fine. Let's take a look in here, and when we try to close the bolt here, it stops. Right, so I am not able to close it all the way. So it does let me know that my magazine is empty. As you can see in there, it kind of goes in and then stops. Now on mine, I have an extended magazine release, not just a push button. So this will get in the way from me using this specific magazine here. So I will have to retrain to use it here. And this is even longer than the one in the Alpha Kit. So that's just something to consider. But otherwise, it works just fine. Okay, so we've loaded up this magazine with 15 darts. It can hold more, but I'm going to hold it to just the 15. The bolt is closed. We're going to go and put the adapter in. With the bolt closed, this goes in pretty nice and easily because it doesn't need to worry about any of the feed lips from the actual magazine, so it fits in rather nicely. What you won't be able to do is push this in with the bolt closed, because with the bolt closed, this needs to open up, and while it can when it's all the way inside, it won't be able to do that when it has to open up right here. It has to push this black plastic in addition to opening up the feed lips, so it won't be able to do that. So in that specific case, let's say that you're empty and you need to reload, you will need to open up the breech and load in your new magazine, and now it'll work just fine. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to do a firing demonstration, shoot off all 15 of these. I'm going to hold this open window to the camera so we can kind of see it feeding. Here we go. And I'm out. Alright, fed through all 15 of them just fine. You can see how it works internally there. That kind of wraps it up for this review. Just my personal opinion on this product. Let's go and pull this out. Personally, I think they've done a really excellent job here in a couple of different ways. One, with coming up with something that's rather new and innovative and opens up the future for different kind of blaster types, including the up-and-coming Archer pistol, which doesn't even need the adapter. It's just the magazine, the Katana magazine itself. So we're looking at a future here where blasters that are Stefan shooters will just be using a smaller magazine. They're specifically designed that way. The other thing is the storage space. So the storage on these in your loadout is going to be significantly different in that you can store, ideally, twice as much in the same amount of space. If you're just using a dump pouch for all of your magazines, this is really nice in that you can store so much more because there's very little wasted space, if any, on storing 15 Stefan length dart magazines, which is a nice feature. All the little bits of engineering that I covered in this video I think are really nice about this product. It's, for what it is, it's a really good, solid feeling product. There's a few things that I think would make it even nicer. Like I mentioned, having a flared magazine well here to kind of ease with the loading, bumpers or something at the bottom of this, since it's ideally supposed to be drop mag to keep it from being damaged, and maybe reinforcing this part just a little bit more, and kind of taking a look at what's going on with this piece here. So just as a quick edit to the tail end of this video, Jet just released a new video for the Katana, explaining what this little area is for. So, as I mentioned, I wasn't quite sure why they designed it this way, and it seemed that in some blasters it worked as a bolt stop when you were empty, which is a nice feature in my opinion. And it looks like on some it doesn't do that, it just kind of pushes it right along through. But it looks like Jet intentionally made it a different design, so they redesigned this follower for a specific purpose, where the ramps should allow this to go through even when it's empty, but what you could actually do is you can actually cut these little tabs and then actually create a bolt stop with the flat end of that follower. All you would need is a pair of snips, and you would just snip here on both sides, and now you've got an intentional bolt stop when your magazine is empty. That's actually really nice. So you can run it one way or another, though it's nice in concept, but in practice it seems that some blasters already stop when the magazine is empty, just in its current design. So something to play around with when you have your own. The price for these, the initial one is the magazine plus the adapter, I believe is $15 right now. And the magazines themselves, they also just sell just the magazines without the adapter. It comes in a 2-pack for $25. I believe there is a sale this month where if you purchase on Jet Blaster's website and put in the code Jet Back to School, Jet-Back-to-School, you will get a 20% discount on your order. So go ahead and take a look at the link in the description box below for more information about that. I think the prices for these are on par with other products. I purchased this for about $12. I purchased this for about $12. Now these retailers that I purchased these from, I believe, were Tactical Foam and Monkey Mods, which I really like them as retailers. Both of them have been pretty knowledgeable with their products and really helpful in customer service, really responsive. So I really appreciate those resellers. And if you haven't checked them out, please do so in the link below. The other place that apparently you can get some of these is the new reseller that's been talked about recently, which is Litake.com. I purchased some of their magazines on Litake.com, and they're significantly cheaper than everywhere else at the moment, other than maybe buying directly from Taobao or something like that. So if you're going off in that direction, these are significantly more expensive. If you're going in line with Monkey Mods, Tactical Foam, and all of those, this is actually pretty in line cost-wise with those other products from those companies. The other dart Stefan dart mag that I would recommend for its price and capacity that would beat all of these as far as that value package is the Artifact 20, which I don't currently have, but it's a 20 dart magazine with a more center aligned Stefan mag, so it works well with your alpha kit, and it's got a higher capacity. This is, I believe, a 12, it's a 15-15. So, and the price of that is roughly less than $10, so that's probably the best bang for your buck if that's what you're looking for. Again, this is the product that Jet has just put out. It's got a different kind of future than these because of how different the usability will be with just a smaller, thinner magazine like this. And I look forward to more of that in the future. If you have any other questions for me about this magazine and any blasters that it might work on, obviously I didn't try it in any flywheel blasters, and I have no real intention to for this video. But if you have any other questions, leave them in the comments section below. If there are other products that you think I should take a look at and review, and if you think my opinion is valuable for you, let me know what those are in the description box below. As always, thank you guys for watching, and Nerf on, everyone.